Out of all the topics that I have ever criticized, the one that tends to get the most hostile response from people is whenever I talk about pornography. Out of everything else I have criticized in the past, porn, without fail, is always that one topic that people are willing to lose their minds over. And so for today, I wanted to read you a post that I saw on social media, and I want to give you my response. And I want to also maybe go over some of the responses that I'm seeing on the internet and why most of you are wrong regarding this topic. But before we get into it, do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button if you value perspectives from an ex-radical leftist like myself. All right, so let me pull up the post in question and then we'll take it from there. All right, so this post comes from, and I always say his name wrong. I'm so sorry, my friend, but his name is Kangmin Lee. I hope I said that right. Kangmin Lee. All right. I'll put the post on the screen so you can read along with me. But this is what he says. I didn't realize banning porn was such an unpopular position on the right. My mentions are full of people calling me an evil authoritarian for wanting to ban hardcore pornography. I get your concerns about government overreach and unjust censorship, but hardcore pornography is an area that is so black and white. The prevalence of porn has no benefits, only downsides, and it'll help individuals, families, and society if we mitigate its reach. No one is saying banning porn will get rid of it forever. However, human nature doesn't change, but politics exists to impose what we believe to be good, and we can leverage power for the betterment of the individual, communities, and the nation. This idea of moral neutrality, I can't talk. This idea of moral neutrality that libertarians have is fundamentally dishonest because you believe the highest good is ensuring maximum autonomy, and I reject that premise. The highest good is goodness, beauty, and truth, and freedoms are a means to achieve that for every individual and for the nation. Governing authorities are not inherently evil. Exercising political power is not inherently evil. Libertarianism is politically and morally untenable. Untenable? Am I saying that right? I don't know. And mass democracy leads to chaos and degeneracy. I am a right-wing traditionalist, not a liberal. I have been clear about this for many years. I don't believe in burning bridges with anyone whom I consider a friend or an ally against a greater enemy, but it's a bit sad to see that people will denounce me over a very normie belief that we should ban pornography, a view that the founding fathers and most Americans until 40 years ago believed. I'm open to speaking with any creator about this. I'm always open to talking through these ideas instead of past each other. I would love to have you on this channel if we want to discuss this, although I feel like we would be talking in an echo chamber, so maybe it's not a good idea because I don't want anyone to say that we're just affirming each other's beliefs here. But this is what I said in response to this. And now granted, again, this was like 7 o'clock in the morning, hadn't had my coffee, just waking up, and I decided to go on Twitter, and that's always a bad mix. But this is what I said. I said, I find it disgusting that those screeching about censorship are obsessed with defending their quote-unquote right to fap to a stranger's body, fully aware the porn industry is a hotbed for human trafficking. Adopting a live and let live mindset inevitably spirals into moral rot, leaving us stunned when we're suddenly justifying horrors like, for example, child mutilation. All societies need guardrails, and if you think that's authoritarian, you're a moron. Now take a wild guess what the response was. This isn't me advocating for banning pornography, okay? In fact, if you ask Grok, shout out to Grok, Grok has said, I've been pretty consistent that that is not the claim that I'm making. I want smaller government because I don't think you can ever get rid of government. It's always going to be an entity. So really the question is, what is the role of government and what is the moral and ethical worldview of that government? And I think that's the point that a lot of people keep missing is that all laws, all of them are a reflection of someone's morality. Okay, so it's really just boils down to whose morality are we talking about? So now what I'm gonna do is read you guys something that I'm not sure a lot of you are aware of, and I want you to listen to what I'm saying with an open mind and an open heart, okay? So I have recommended this book many times, and I'll recommend it again. It's one of my favorite books. It's called The Naked Communist, and it's by W. Cleon Skousen, okay? And so basically this book is essentially the playbook of why America is falling into this bottomless pit of moral decay and everyone's fighting. There's so much political division. You want to know why that's happening? Pick up this book, okay? It's a long read, but I promise you it's worth it. It'll make sense of a lot of things. The 45 Goals of Communism were first published in the 8th edition of The Naked Communist in March 1961. They were gleaned from testimony given to Congress by various scholars and from writings of current or former communists. The general thrust of the 45 Goals was to attack the Judeo-Christian underpinnings that had long prospered and protected freedom, and to replace them with the bricks, mortar, and top-down force of a purely socialistic society. Despite the fact that no such utopian society as pure socialism is possible, and that all prior attempts have destroyed civilizations for ages past, the communists and their supporters put forward the same formula anyway. The goal, after all, was not to advance human welfare, but to advance human control. Conquering a nation typically comes about in one of two ways. The first is to attack it militarily and compel the people to obedience. The second is to corrupt the institutions that keep people unified and raise up leaders who promise to stabilize the chaos, establish order, and return a sense of security. America was too strong to conquer militarily, so the second process was undertaken, the process of corruption. Because we don't have time to talk about this entire book, I'm going to isolate 3 out of the 45 goals of communism that I think are relevant to this conversation regarding porn. So I'm going to put this up on the screen. Feel free to follow along. Number 24. Eliminate all laws governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and free press. Goal number 24 was largely achieved when several parties sought Supreme Court clarification about obscenity, erotica, free speech, and censorship, and the court was unable to cleanly resolve the matter. A revealing look into the soul of America was exposed when the court could no longer explain why obscenity was harmful. In 1969, the court determined an adult could have obscene material as a right of privacy, but there were limits put in place. In a move to add some degree of legal control, in 1999, the court upheld the state's right to outlaw possession and distribution of child pornography. Number 25. Break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. In 1959, the average American would not have believed what has happened to American morals and standards as a result of today's cultural breakdown. The internet has magnified the problem 1,000-fold, with online pornography reported to play a role in 56% of all divorces in America. Another report says 70% of youths ages 15 to 17 accidentally stumble across pornography online. Other studies found that youths exposed to those sites were more likely to have multiple lifetime sexual partners and more likely to have multiple sexual partners in the last 3 months, and were more likely to have used alcohol or drugs in their last sexual encounter. Men were more likely to view erotic images while women were more likely to read erotic stories. A study by Extreme Tech estimates that at least 30% of all internet traffic now goes to pornography websites. The Education Database Online claims 43% of internet users go to adult websites. Those visitors also accounted for 35% of all internet downloads. The world's largest porn site receives more than 4 billion hits a month. Other research estimates that 89% of all pornography is produced in the United States. As for the viewership, the average high school boy spends at least 2 hours every week at adult websites, while 70% of all men in the ages of 18 to 24 age bracket visit at least one adult website every month. Number 26. Present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. These 45 goals were put into print in 1961. By 1973, homosexuality was declassified as a mental disorder by the American Psychiatric Association. Others followed their lead. The American Psychological Association Council of Representatives adopted the same policy in 1975, and the World Health Organization followed suit in 1990. Studies of the gay lifestyle do not support stability in the homosexual relationships. A 1978 study found that 83% of homosexual men had 50 or more partners in their lifetime, while 28% had more than 1,000. Most lesbians, studies show, had fewer than 10 same-sex partners and rarely with strangers. Before the AIDS epidemic took hold, about 79% of men said more than half of their sex partners were strangers. In 1984, after the AIDS epidemic took hold, the average number of sex partners among homosexual men in San Francisco dropped from 6 new partners to 4 new partners per month. There is a higher rate of psychiatric illnesses among gays and lesbians than heterosexuals. And a 1977 study of lifespan showed gay and bisexual men lost up to 20 years of life expectancy. Subsequent studies put the average lifespan at a static or higher than prior studies because of the new HIV and AIDS therapies. More social acceptance of these lifestyles in recent years have likewise reduced the levels of mental health problems related to same-sex attraction. The recent push for gay marriage rights, as guaranteed by the Supreme Court in 2015, is the latest in an effort to break apart the natural family and institutionalize homosexuality. In the free speech arena, public commentary supporting gay rights is supported for its inclusiveness and diversity. Colleges and businesses and local governments are quick to announce how diverse they have become. However, public commentary supporting the natural family and denouncing homosexuality is now attacked as hate speech. Such expressions or positions have cost people their jobs or created other social and legal entanglements. Pro-family and anti-gay expressions are quickly becoming today's new standard of the profane and the obscene. So like I said, these are just 3 out of the 45 tactics that communists are using to destroy the West. And the main goal of these tactics is to slowly erode the moral and ethical framework that allows our country to even function. If you guys want to learn more, I cannot recommend this book enough. That being said, it is not my job to hold your hand and convince you of the truth. You have to want the truth, okay? And I think it's so easy for people to get lost in their emotions and think that this is just me telling you what to do, and I'm trying to push my beliefs on you. This is the reality that we live in, okay? Communists have known for generations that taking over America is a slow process. And so if you want to know how to defeat the one world government, digital ID, digital currency nonsense, then you should probably have a little bit more of an open mind instead of dismissing everyone's concerns as you just want to be an authoritarian. No, you're just emotional and you're blind. Okay, so let's get back to the video. We cannot get away from the fact that all laws legislate morality. Okay, so this notion that, oh, the government shouldn't have any say in morality, it's very naive to think that they don't already do that. Morality is something that's always going to be imposed through law. That's just how it is. As far as like this being, I guess the main claim was, oh, well, this is going to lead to government verification, government ID. And listen, I am well aware of the one world government agenda, and the way to stop their plans is to reject the bait. And I think taking the bait of saying, yes, I will verify my ID in order for me to fap to a complete stranger, I think, yeah, you are playing into their game. So the way to defeat them is to not take the bait and don't watch porn. It's not that difficult, It's almost, if I can just reference something else, during COVID, how many people took the vaccine because they wanted to go to the bar? They wanted to go to Disney World. You guys were willing to give up your rights just for a little sense of enjoyment and pleasure. And so why are we surprised that people are pretty much advocating for the same thing when it comes to their gooning? I hate that word, but I guess for this video, I will use it. Y'all are gooning. Stop it. Do what you want, okay? This is not me telling you what to do. Do what you want, but accept the consequences. Accept that your perception on reality and what is good and what is right and what is true, it does not negate the reality that ideas and behaviors have consequences. And if Marxists have known for generations that promoting promiscuity and obscenity in the public square would eventually lead to the breakdown of Western traditional values, then I don't know what to tell you, okay? They've known this forever. It would be wise for you to maybe pay attention and wonder, why is everyone trying to fight tooth and nail to keep to keep promiscuity alive. Like why is it? And again, some people will argue that it's a slippery slope, and I would actually argue that we have been on the slippery slope for a long time. First, we said this was okay, and then we said this was okay, and next thing you know, we're mutilating and dismembering kids because it's a form of healthcare. Okay? All right, don't talk to me about slippery slope. I don't think you guys are ready for that conversation. But that is going to be it for today's video. I hope I didn't piss off a lot of you. If I did, I don't know. But if you have a suggestion for another topic you would like me to touch on, please let me know in the comment section below. My name is Vanessa. You may know me as Gothix, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.